We didn't do most of it, but we need to still put a plate in the back, and then we need to put a plate on the top so that the hinges are sitting nice and perfect. So that's what we're doing today. When the time to stop welding, I probably won't be recording, just for the simple fact it's like it's just so much, man. Because I'm so far away that I gotta unravel the card, and then it has to go around a corner, and I'm like, you know what? Instead of going through all that, I think I just stop the feed, chill for a second, and then come back to it. So this is the progress. Mm. See, then I'm gonna put a latch, like two chain links right here and one chain link right here, and you can just lock it. Simple lock system. This make no sense to make it a lock and key if you're not gonna put a lock on it. So this is what we got going on. What I'm doing right now is I'm about to cut a plate for this back, and then I'm cutting a flat bar of not well not a bar but a flat piece of steel for right here. That way I can weld these hinges on nice and neat like this. One in the middle, one right there, and then one right here. That's what's going on. Oh, kind of. Yeah, let's do it that way. It's a little skewed in the back. You can see that. But I'm gonna live with that because I want the front to look decent. And this is all scrap metal. Like this is an old machine becoming a new appliance. I think it works. Oof. So let's get to it. I'm gonna use the torch and I'm gonna use the cutting wheel just for the simple fact the torch is just gonna cut the fast parts off that I don't need at all. And then with the cutting wheel, when it's time to be more precise, get you guys the angle. I like to always just set up right here. I think this is a solid angle to live from. Bam, just like that. We're gonna go ahead and get it started. I see you in the live. Hello. So we're gonna start with some fire. I always like getting the flame started first, doing some cutting. Then for the more precise cutting, like I said, I can put a cutting wheel on. But right now I'm just taking out some of this old metal, pretty much moving things out the way. Yeah, just some dark shades. Um, they are the biggest safety face goggles, but for myself, because like I said, I'm always just really cutting light. This is not no heavy cutting, so I don't feel it necessary to need to cover up so much. I'm in a very controlled environment. All right, let's get to work. And then yesterday I was cutting, and some of my cuts were becoming challenging. It was because I was running out of oxygen. I'm using my hand as a guide. And then that square in the back is 38 inches by 13. So this is more than enough metal to fill that place in. Whenever you hear that pop, that means I'm just moving too fast. It's so cool. And obviously, you gotta preheat the metal. This is really thin metal. It doesn't need to be preheated. It just needs to be mounted. And if you see my bottom hand is still on this metal as a guide. And that way I can just ride. I'm engaging. Because even though this part I'm not using, I still want clean cut. Just because anytime you're using a torch, it's kind of like practice. So when you need it, see, push that out. I was riding too fast. I was. Yeah. This is going to stop the move because I'm cutting off and just skipping it up. I'm aware of that. I'm anticipating it. Yeah. I'm holding my breath for the game because I'm not bracing myself. So bear with me with the narrating. Yeah, popping is gonna drop. But even when things dropping, it keep cutting. You know it's gonna drop. That was expected. Then using my elbow on my hip, that's my balance now. Mm-hmm. Clean off the slack. And this is a clean cut right here. I go straight into grinding that and getting ready to weld. Turn this around. And then go this side. Now this is gonna drop towards my feet. So when I get towards the end, almost done, I'm gonna take a step back and just see it. Clean up the slack. Damn. Oh, I didn't want this on there either. It's a little. I'm gonna wash this away. Just this extra metal on top of this plate. Then I'm gonna still brush it, clean it up, make it look neat, put some paint on it, and give it a new look. All right, that's that for now. We still gotta cut some more on that piece that fell onto the next table. But you know, I always say when I start sweating, clean myself up a little bit. It was a clean cut. I like it. There's a little slack on it, of course. That's expected, but it's definitely a clean cut. Give you guys a closer look for that first cut. It's not dangerous. Ah, that's what's up. So clean cut. Mhm. And then this is the side I'm gonna use for that back plate. So I'm gonna just cut right here, boom, and then cut that edge off. And then once I cut that edge off, and I cut this out, and then I can use this angle. This is a good angle, so I'm not gonna just be so mismanaged with this piece because I can use it for something else. So I'm gonna get my measurements, see how much of this plate I can keep, and then from there, I will continue to cut. Yeah, let's keep working. Probably can zoom in a little bit for you too. Yeah, there you go. I need 38 inches. This is probably, I think, exactly 38. So there's not much to spare. It's 29. Okay, so I gotta cut this. I gotta cut this off altogether because I need it because it's a part of what I need. That's cool. So that means I got a lot of washing to do if I want to use this plate. So let's wash first. Find the wells. One right there, one right here, and one right there. Same thing. One, two, three, four wells. I might want to cut that for the fact I don't want to damage this metal because it's so thin. So I think I'm gonna go and do everything else now with the torch. I cut this edge off. Now I'm gonna use the grinding cutting wheel for all that. Just because, like I said, I want that part to be clean because I'm using it, and it's just gonna be in my favor. We'll find something else to be more destructive with later with the torch. But for right now, we're gonna get this thing done right. And I don't think it takes that much longer to use the cutting wheel than the torch. The torch is just it's fun, really, if you want to be honest. Cutting wheel is more, I would say, of a skill set, staying on track and not when you finish you so far left or so far right. It's hot out here. Stay hydrated. Okay. You know what? I think of some of the weirdest things at the weirdest moments, and I realized I read in the live someone said it's 5:30 where they're in the morning, and now I'm like, where are you? I don't because I'm a little aware of different locations, but I'm trying to think now. And I'm like 5:30. Who's at 5:30 right now? Conversation got in my face. I couldn't see anything anymore. Slow and steady wins the race with this one. I think that's why I like the torch. It would have been over already. Mhm. At least this is one clean cut. More scrap metal. You can always use it later for something else. I can make a lock and handle out of those pieces. And the reason I'm cutting these welds out with this machine rather than the torches because I don't want to warp the metal too much. And I know if I put the torch in the middle of this thin sheet metal, I'm going to get the cut I want, and I'm going to be able to take this angle out the middle. But what the consequences going to be is my metal is going to start to be lopsided or warped. So just to avoid that, I'm going the secure route. And they weren't really thick wells. I already heard that one pop. That's why I stopped. And I'm just gonna hit all real soft, and then I'm going to get a hammer, pop it with that hammer, put it in place. Do all my prepping over here. That way, when I go over there, I gotta take the welder over there or the leads. The welder is gonna stay stationary. I'll show you where the welder at compared to how far I'm walking. Take the welder over there. Weldless plating. Weldless on top of the lid, and then after I clean this up, obviously a little bit, I'm going to also paint it and weld the hinges onto this. Take that, take that band out of it. Yeah. Let's keep working this on work over here. And that's why I got my hammer. 'Cause I know some of these wells are a little more difficult to get to. So in my mind, I was like, let me just go ahead and I'm gonna whack it out the way. Edge is a little rough, rough little edge. All these little flange coming off, flanges. Trying not to cut myself. And the piece that I'm cutting out that I'm going to show you when it comes out is the final mechanism when we talk about metal not going old because this angle could be used for something else again. It's going to be used for something else. All right. Some more scrap metal, and I just throw. I got it. Whoever made this table put the things under the table for me. They were doing what they were doing, but now I got a little method to the madness. So if it's something I think I'm gonna use in the near future, I usually throw it to my left. I'm left-handed, and if it's something I'm gonna figure out later, I throw it to the right for the future. But everything now towards the left. Usually when I look under the table on this side, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use that for this. If this problem comes up, I'm gonna use that for this. Or what? Can I create something with that? And it's healthy brain exercise for me, honestly. I gotta get a square too if I can go ahead and square that corner and then I can get my measurements. All right. Let me see if I can knock this thing out the way. I didn't get the last two wells, but I don't think I need to because the part of the plate I'm cutting, I can just cut over. There we go. You see that? I don't know if you can see that or not, but it just lifted off his wells, just like that. Now I'm gonna cut the angle right there, and that'll be that. I might use the torch for that part just to be fast, because it's a piece of the work I'm not using, so it doesn't have so much value. Or again, I can just flip the plate over now and cut on the other side, which I might do, and then don't worry about this angle. But just for sure, I was getting this up. See. Okay. See, bam. So what I just did was I cut the wells off this angle so it can separate from the plate. Cause I'm gonna use this plate, and like I said, I'm gonna use this angle too. I just don't know when. Hmm. And now we go back to cutting some more. Get the angle right. Okay, bam. Let's turn this torch back on. I'm gonna burn the rest of that off real fast, and then I'm gonna do my measurements. Once I get my measurements, I can do some specific cuts. And I'm always turning the torch off when I'm not using it, just because of the simple fact that stuff costs money, and to just be burning money is such a bad practice. If it's yours or not, it's just a bad practice. Yeah, damn. And like I said, that was so much faster, Boom. Just like that. And I'm gonna reuse this angle. So, like I say, anything I know I'm gonna use in the near future, I just go ahead and throw that to the left. Um, Now I know I need this whole plate. What I don't need is this part. So I'll go ahead and if that was hard enough, I would have made this jump back on. Nope. Now this whole thing is gonna drop, and I know that. So because I know it's gonna drop, I'm gonna cut furthest away from me and then finish on this side. So when it's dropping, it's on the opposite side of my body. I only need 13 inches up, but I want the weight to be accurate. That way I can blow to my left. Yeah, it's popping. It want me to slow down, but I was riding. It was had good heat. None of that was irrelevant to me. And remember, always a part of cutting is knowing when things are going to fall, which direction they're going to fall, and how to control the fall. Some rust. That's some rust. And just like that. Know which direction things are going to fall. Very important. Something I learned and then later learned the hard way. Cutting things off and then they're barely missing you, and then you gotta thank God for your limbs. Because in that moment, you should have definitely lost something. So I'm going to get a square and I'm going to get the marker. So just because I think the marker would be the easiest thing to mark up on. Hmm. And I'll use this plate too. This seems like something I think I'll use in the near future. So to the left, to the left. Everything you want to the left. Okay. Now we're gonna do it like this. And now I gotta clean this edge off. I need as much of this uh plate as possible. So now I'm gonna mark my 12, 13 inches. So it's 13 inches, yeah. 13, 13. Mm. Okay, let me put one more over here. 13. And I'm just marking 13 a couple places up and down. So when I make my line, I can get it as straight as possible. I remember when I used to do upholstery work, this guy, they taught me the importance of this square. And this, you want that line to look good. And then I'm gonna cut on this line. I'm gonna cut like a sniper on this line. Stay on this line, which is very important. And then I think this whole plate itself is the 38 I need when I measured it. So that's why I said I had no room to waste. Yeah, this tape measure is horrible. No, okay, yeah. So my 38. Okay, okay. So let me mark the 38. Honestly, no, no. 'Cause I'm gonna just grind that clean. I'm gonna grind that clean. So 38 one time. Negative 38 again. Two times. Then force this tape back in. It don't go. It doesn't go in past the 29-inch mark because what happened? We used to take this out when we go on the job for the piles, And that's why I'm at the shop right now. We're not having any piles to be driven. The machines are being serviced. The guy's coming from Delaware today to finish servicing the machines. But anyways, it got stuck in between some piles, and you know the rest is history. Yeah, the rest is history. So we're gonna cut that, clean up a little bit. Then we're gonna grind that one edge that I did cut. Then we have maybe another 38 by 6 of flat plate that we can use for another project. Really helpful, like if we need something thin, but still able to weld on. Because that's the problem I was trying to avoid. I didn't want something so thin that it became a nuisance when it's time to weld with that stick machine. I had to pull out my MIG machine yesterday. The MIG that I do have, it's not a good machine, but it did the job. Keep this lip from moving on me so much. As soon as I started pushing, it started giving. I get it. I remember I had one cousin. He would always wear dark shades when he's using the grinding wheel still too. And I get it because sometimes those sparks are just a little too bright, especially when you've been walking. I might can use that for something too. This edge that I'm cutting off. Yeah, I might can use that for something. It may be mindful how I cut it. All right, let's get this last piece. I'm gonna clean it up over here too. Um, do all my cleaning over here with the grinder wheel, and then I'll go over there when it's only time to just to take everything from over there to over here to over there. It's just so much. So I rather just take that one thing, meaning the welding machine. Well, I'm looking at what somebody else doing, not paying attention to what I got going on. I hit a smooth spot in the machine where it wasn't jumping and was just willing and able to continue to cut. If you didn't notice that, well, you know how something's gonna drop. It didn't fall. I just cut it in a way that it would. And then I could, yep, just like that. Just because it was on the closer side to me instead of being on the opposing side. Once again, this is something useful, but it's a bigger piece. I don't want to put too much big obvious down there. So now I'm gonna just get a grinding wheel, clean up the edges. I don't want to poke myself later. Give this plate a little light brush, literally light brush. Alright, because I'm gonna paint it black. Ooh. And this is kind of like the process I use for making anything. Prep, do all the prepping, do all the fabricating, get everything to where and what I want it to be, so that when I go over there, all I'm doing is working. This one don't need much. That's why I think I got it first. I got a wireless, so that's why I'm cleaning it. I didn't want to knock too much of that old primer off because it holds to that paint very well. So I just cleaned it up enough for me to be able to use it for what I want to use it for. This is going on top with the lid. Is going to be what I weld my hinges to. And this is going to be that back plate. If you remember in the very beginning of the live, I showed what I was prepping for. Then I'm running my hand along it because typically, if someone else was working with me or working along beside me, you didn't want those sharp edges for in case someone was trying to be helpful real fast to grab something and then they cut themselves being helpful, which is a horrible thing. Yeah. It's hot, sweat in my eye, y'all. I'm gonna stop when that sweat be on my eye. In a sense. Yeah, I'm keeping my safety glasses on. I was struggling keeping my safety glasses on, but I didn't have too many warnings, and now I'm just like, man, you gotta keep it on. Get this metal cleaned up. Now we can find this thing a new home. You know, put some a ratchet. Um, hmm. Honestly, I don't know. All the ratchets were in one bag. I had it separated, and then ain't no ratchets in there. Everybody just started moving everything around. It it was really organized. At one, oh, right here. If there's a ratchet, it's gonna be in this bag. This was the ratchet bag with the sockets. Yeah, I know what I'm saying. I had all the ratchets and the sockets in this bag. Yeah, I don't know if it's not in this bag. I just don't. Oh, a ratchet right here. Um, yeah. All right. Where were we? Yeah. Finding this metal a new home. Let's finish. That's the one that I did, and I do always appreciate when I'm working on sites where I'm an individual worker, because then you don't have to worry about tools and wherever I put something, that's exactly where it's at, and I like that thought. All right, this plate is ready. That plate is ready. Those two plates are ready. Let's go see the new homes we've made. All right, so this is what we got going on. Plate ready. That's gonna be the back plate. Top plate ready. This is gonna be the top plate. All right, so I'm about to be moving to the other side. I may come back on when it's I already have everything set up. But for the meanwhile, it's just gonna be a whole bunch of nothingness, and I won't steal you guys time for that. So thank you.